Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Wanted to update you all on the Firebird. I got it back recently and dove right into some problems. The issues are pretty minimal. It's just stuff that needs to get fixed before I really drive it. I don't really want to cruddy up the underside of the car. So what I'm having to do is fix a power steering problem. As you can see under here, I've got the power steering cooler sitting down there on the ground. The way the shop did it, they put the motor in it. They've kind of loomed it up behind the radiator, kind of in between where the fans are, back behind the shroud, I guess. Didn't really like that. Didn't really plan on putting it there. It was never where I intended to have the thing. So under here you can kind of see there's a notch up underneath there on the air dam. I cut that previously with the old motor. Actually, it was one of the first things I did when I got the car. And I cut that out thinking that it would be better airflow for that aftermarket cooler. It's just a little bitty cooler, little B&M, I think is who made that. B&M or Derail, I'm not sure which. It's been so long. But it goes in line on the return. So on the bottom down below, you've got your return line that comes in the bottom of the pump. The rubber line that goes there, you disconnect and you run this thing on the return. So it doesn't get at the high pressure side. You don't want, high pressure going through that because it's just to try and cool, the return. So when the fluid comes back up, it's cool fluid. So working on that, got some things done under the hood, waiting for the kit to get here. So that's why that thing's just sitting there. It's been there for a couple of days. So planning on getting that hooked back up this weekend. Should be here Friday. Today's Thursday. Got the on this car, I deleted the MAF, so there's no mass airflow. It's speed density tuned, so this hose takes the place of that. Still have IAT, still have the fittings here on the sensors for the throttle body, whatever those are. You got IAC and then your throttle position sensor. So IAT, yeah. Anyway, disconnected those are out of the way just to get to the power steering. Kind of loomed some stuff up a little bit more, wrapped some wire loom around some of this stuff, trying to make it a little bit nicer. I tried to black everything out. Stuff was in storage for so long, it just kind of got dingy. You can see right here. Just need to repaint this a little bit. I'm going to mask some of this stuff off and kind of repaint some of the stuff I didn't get a chance to paint. The hose in there, that there. Took the stickers off the battery. I just thought it looked nicer, just all black. Actually moved the stickers to that side, so not that big a deal, just kind of cleans it up. I am doing the wire tuck mod on this side. So I've got the Velcro sitting here to remind me, hey dummy, tuck those wires. The P59 computer that I'm running, I ran that just for the future. So future in mind, I will likely do some kind of force induction, and the P59 computer is really superior to everything else that's available for these cars. It did actually come on this car. The 0411 computer that came on the 99 and later cars could have worked, but I wanted to have, potentially a lot of boost through this thing. I know the motor's not built right now, but if I hold onto the car, maybe I'll build, something that's more boost friendly. Probably start small. So I'm thinking, 15 pounds. If I'm around 15, 16 pounds and good fuel, running 85, I can run flex fuel with this thing. So it's a pretty smart computer. So if you don't know anything about those, definitely look into them. I kind of rigged up some cover on this thing. I don't want water coming in from behind here, so it'll drip off of this rubber right here. I didn't want it dripping right on the wires. These connectors didn't actually have the covers on them. They just had bare wires just going into the harness right there that are the caps. So I went ahead and kind of rigged up a little bit of a cover. It looks kind of but maybe I'll eventually find some kind of cover caps. Same thing with some wiring that was done here. This harness was actually spliced in and repinned for this. So the harness itself is the 98 harness that the car came with, but it's been repinned to basically have the wires go to where they need to go to adapt to these computers, these later computers. So if you have an 0411 computer, you can go to the P59 and it'll work. You just have to kind of tinker with the tuning. There's quite a bit involved. I don't know the technicalities about it. My tuner helped, handled it for me, but basically it has to do with getting a tune that came with, a car that came with a P59. Some trucks, some vans had it. So if you can find a tune, the base tune from there, and just build your tune on top of it, that should work. Manual trans, all that good stuff. So there wasn't a whole lot to it. The O2s are the issue. The gas gauge is an issue, but so far mine are working. The gas gauge is sort of working. It's come to life, but I think it's got a issue with the stepper motor. I'm going to run some fuel system treatment through it. It was sitting so long. I think that's kind of part of my problem, but we'll see. The gauge is kind of trying to find itself, but it kind of shakes around and it's not real accurate. So I'm going to work with that. So I've got to take the inner fender liner out up under here. I don't know if you can see in there. Take that out and then drop these lines down here. I don't have skinny hands. I have mitts. So a buddy of mine is going to come over and take the ABS line loose from down there so I can get this line loose. This one here drops all the way down there. Pull it loose, run it back behind here, drop the inner fender, and then I've already got the lines run through the hole. I'm going to grommet that hole. I think for now I'm just going to wrap that with tape, try and find a grommet that'll fit it. These cars, I guess since it's a 1LE and it's a bare bones car, the harness cable that runs through here isn't very big. It's actually pretty small. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe, I could have gone with a smaller hole. I don't know, but I figured for grins, I'd go ahead and, make that the right size. The stuff passed right through it. So anyway, just trying to kind of clean up under here. Just got a few little piddly things to do since I got the car back. The power steering was the main thing. I just didn't want a big mess under the car after just getting the thing back. It's all cleaned up. The underside does need a cleaning. I need to paint some stuff. It was sitting for so long in not the greatest environment. It wasn't a climate controlled garage like I have here now. It was more of a barn. So obviously, the thing's not in the greatest shape on the underside. I tried to clean up the outside as best I could. I've gone over the car. I did have the pinion angle checked when I was there at the shop, when the car was there at the shop. I put a new torque arm on the car. I don't know if you've seen the previous videos, but the new rear end that's in it is a 8.8 with 327 gears. I'm going to have those swapped out for 373s. 327 is just so long, especially just NA. And I think it'll be fine. I've had a turbo car before that had 373s with 6-speed and it was fine. So first and second gear may be useless, but it may be anyway. If I'm not on a real sticky tire, which these R888s may be okay, but I've got plans for that to likely run more of a true street tire, at least a 200 tread wear tire. These are 100 tread wear and they'll wear out kind of quick. So I put these on the car. I'm not 100% sure about them. I like how that looks. Will likely like how it handles, but the rears kind of pooch a little. With the car on the ground, the fronts kind of do the same thing, so they kind of match. So I guess that's not too bad. It's a 275 tire on a 17x9 wheel, so that may be acceptable. I don't know. The backs just kind of pooch out on the sidewall a little bit. I'm kind of being nitpicky. So the exhaust was kind of redone. I'm going to talk kind of quick because I've got some neighbors that are across the street. The exhaust I did a little different on this one. I've still got the one on the left exhaust that this car came with. And I'm going to kind of recreate that look with this setup. So what I've got right now is a Borla catback that I bought used. And I'm going to buy a different tip to kind of emulate the look of factory. But for now, I've just got the single Borla outlet. It's a single in-out outlet, or muffler rather. You can kind of see under here. Let me get this working for me here. So I've got this muffler. It's a single in-out Borla, and the right tip on these normally has the tip coming out right there. Well, I've got a QTP cut out there and a turn down. I painted it black so you can't really see it. And basically, when the thing's open and muffler bypass, it'll dump there, and it'll be kind of hidden. And then this side, it'll just look like a stock muffler, or I'm sorry, stock tips. So this is on here just because I had it. I've got to find a tip that matches the spec of stock. I found one on eBay that's pretty close. So that's kind of my plan, is to try and make it look factory while it has a better sound to it. I'd do a startup video. I'll do that soon once I get the power steering on it. Don't want to start up with no pump, or with no hoses, rather, to shoot the stuff everywhere. So I'll do a quick walk around video of the car. Like you can kind of basically see it here. A little more rundown. Obviously did the motor. The clutch is a Monster Stage 2 clutch that I've been pretty happy with so far. It's a Tick master cylinder that's on it, adjustable master. It's stiffer than before. I think that's the master and the clutch itself. It's a stiffer pedal, so it's a little bit to get used to. It's got a transmission out of a car with around 60,000 miles. So nice butter trans, shifts like butter, no issues. It's got an MGW shifter in it, which feels real good. A little stiffer than what I had. I went from the Hurst stock shifter to this, so there's no slop in it, which is a little bit different, but I'm still getting used to that too. I've only driven the car twice, and then up on jack stands it goes for its favorite pose, since that's how this car runs. But anyway, want to make it right. So stock drive shaft for now. I'll probably put a better shaft in it eventually. I just wanted something that would work. It's got a different adapter U-joint on it. They'll adapt to this 8.8 rear, which is a 1350 yoke on it. It's a stock width rear. It's got 327 gears, Eaton posi. We've gone over some of this stuff already. I was wondering why the car was riding rough. It just felt stiffer than I remembered, and I recalled, oh yeah, I put a different torque arm on it. So it's got a, let's see, it's got a Founders suspension torque arm on it. Not sure how well this will work, but I'll try and get under here. Adjust my little tripod down so I can maybe see it a little bit. You can see the exhaust. Can't really see the torque arm much, but it's got a torque arm mount. It's the relocate cross member. So it relocates the torque arm off the cross member, so that's pretty sweet. And then the torque arm itself, if I can get under there far enough, you might be able to see it. There it is. It's a long arm, but that, along with the lower control arms that you can kind of see here, it's just a different animal as far as how it rides. It's a lot stiffer. Thing was smoother before. Didn't realize how much stiffer it was going to make it. I'd always had cars with suspension. They always rode kind of rough, and I thought, this car rides so smooth when I got it. Well, now it's like those other cars, which isn't a deal breaker, but that's what's going on with it. So it doesn't really surprise me that that's what I'm dealing with now, but I'm cool with that. So it's got the 1 3/4 headers on it. I did it for torque for now. Some people might think that's kind of stupid, but got a good deal on them. And if I go turbo eventually, they'll be coming off. Same with the Y-pipe. Found it used. It's got cats on it. So it helps a little bit with the smell, not a lot. This cam's got more overlap than I thought. Let's go under here. There's that cross member and the torque arm and the exhaust. It's a decent merge. It's not ideal, but it works pretty well. Let's see, anything else to show? Oh yeah, it's got a three-way adjustable, I think a 3-way adjustable sway bar on the back. Right now it's in the middle spot. Same with the lower control arms, it's on the middle hole. There's 3-way, or 3 different mounting points for those. I'm going to actually measure out the wheel space, or what do you call it? The wheelbase, not wheel space, wheelbase of this car, and see how close I've got the lower control arm. I think they need to come forward. With it on the ground, it kind of rotates more forward, but I've got a lot more space in the front than I do the back, and I think it's supposed to be the opposite way. So I'll kind of take a look at that and see how these hit and how it's, how if I can measure it out. I saw another guy subscribed to his channel was actually measuring it out. It's supposed to be like 101.1 wheelbase, and I think I've got a little more on that. So as he mentioned in his video, it would be nice to have a little bit shorter wheelbase just because I'm going to make the car handle. So that's something I got to fix. So assuming its favorite position right when I get it back, right up on jack stands. But anyway, the car's coming together slowly but surely. I'm still going to try and tinker with that exhaust, get the right tip back on there so it looks factory. I just wanted some more sound. I didn't really like the dump I had on it before. That was under the car. That was a dual 3-inch into a 4-inch bullet, a Dynamax bullet dumped at the axle, and it was pretty droney. Sounded cool, just kind of drove me nuts. It was basically either really loud or really quiet because I had the stock muffler on it, stock catback. So with this car, with this setup, not going for like all-out power, that did add a pretty good increase. I may eventually put a merge back on this setup. The Flowmaster merge is a nice piece for cheap. It's like $45, $50, something like that. I'm not sure what it's at nowadays, but they're slowly getting more expensive, but it's definitely worthwhile. It merges the two 3-inch pipes into a 4, and you can neck it down to even 3.5. It's just all in that merge that you'll pick up some power, pick up some torque, and better sound quality. It's less raspy too. So that's one of the things that I would highly recommend anybody that's doing any kind of exhaust modification on a Y pipe. Duals are cool, but they're loud all the time. I thought this was going to be quieter, honestly, so I may end up putting a muffler on the I pipe like I did before. Maybe do you know, like a MagnaFlow Bullet or a Borla XR1 muffler in there, and then it'll still be noisy and make, you know, power out that dump. But yeah, I got some different ideas on that. So it's still pretty loud through the muffler, which it's making good power. I mean, it's 11-to-1 motor. You know, it made 425, 400. So a little more power to be had in the exhaust, a little more power to be had in an intake manifold. E85, I mean, it'll make more power on the motor as it is. It'd probably make close to 440, 450 with the other stuff done. So I likely won't go down that path. I'll probably keep it like it is and just try and boost it sooner than later. It just depends. I want to get it on the track. I want to see how I handle a road course, how I handle autocross, how the car does. Just get used to driving the car. I mean, I'm excited to have a car that'll actually turn. So I think, you know, future mods, immediate future stuff, it'll obviously be getting that tip on there, making it look like it did before. Maybe quiet it down a hair. We'll see on that. I haven't actually driven it with the cutout in there. The cutout was in it, but I don't think the plate didn't have power to it, and I think it was letting some exhaust through that dump. So if that'll seal up, just sitting and idling and revving it, there wasn't a whole lot of difference, but maybe there is. I don't know. It sounded pretty similar to me. So with it open versus closed on that Butterfly. So anyway, yeah, immediate stuff's going to be that, getting the power steering on, cleaning up under the hood a little bit. Anyway, I'll try and post more content of these cars as I can, just kind of getting more into it, trying to get this thing back together, back on the road. Just miss it. It's fun to drive it. It just feels like a new car because it's just so different now. Feeling stiffer, being louder, worried about that leak, but we'll get it all figured out. Hopefully there's no engine leak or engine oil leak. I was really afraid that the power steering initially was an engine oil leak from the front cover where it meets the pan. I was pretty upset about that. Hopefully that's not what it is. I don't think it is. I smelled it. It doesn't smell like oil. It smells more like power steering fluid does. I just changed the power steering fluid because I had an issue with the upper radiator hose, you know, built-in cooler when I first got the car. So it sat with new fluid in it. You know, I drove it for, I guess I did that back in March of like 17 when I first got it. Drove it for 5 or 6 months, I guess, and then parked it, if that, 4 months. So March, April, May, June, July, 5 months, I guess. So July of 17 is when I took everything apart and started on all this. So it's good to have it back, but it definitely feels different, but it's not a bad deal. I think, you know, once I get everything figured out as far as how the thing's going to handle, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's just putting up with different, you know, little different manners on the street, a little stiffer clutch. Just got to get used to that. Just a different car, you know. I mean, you drive this thing, it's like a boat on wheels. It's a little more cushy. It's a little bit of a rough ride because it's lowered, but in comparison, it's nothing like this thing. This thing's a lot stiffer than I even remember, but I think it's mainly due to the suspension mods. So I always thought shocks and struts and springs were the ones that were going to make the ride quality different. But I tell you what, the torque arm and the lower control arms and maybe the sway bar, but those first two things I think are definitely affecting how this thing rides. So anyway, just part of it, you know. If I want it to turn, I want it to be stiff, it's going to be stiff, and that's how it's going to feel. So, you know, I've still got other stuff I could put back in it if I wanted to. So anyway, but hope you've enjoyed the little update. I will definitely post more videos soon. I will try and get a video of this thing together and on the ground soon. Thanks for watching. Click that subscribe button and you'll see a lot more of this car. I promise. Thanks.